Today, we've got a guest with us. We've got the alumnus, Benjamin Wadowski. Um, so, welcome to the show. I'm like kind of doing a show here. This is kind of a little bit of a podcast style. So, we're doing a live recording of a podcast because we're all good millennials or something, Gen X, Gen Z. I don't even know what we are anymore. We're something. People are making videos and stuff and calling things podcasts. So welcome to the show, Benjamin.
Hey guys, it's good to talk to people that I was once in their shoes. So to see the growth from freshman year to now and see where this whole road leads.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. So thanks for being with us, and I'll do a little bit of background on Benjamin, and then we'll kind of find out more through the interview. Benjamin is a project engineer at Auburn Mechanical in Auburn, Washington. I know that was a surprise where it is. And Auburn Mechanical does design, build, and full mechanical construction in the greater Seattle region. So, yeah, definitely a sweet job to land, Benjamin. And you graduated in 2020, which is, now the best year we can all remember, 2020. So congratulations on graduating and finding a sweet job. So yeah, and it seems like just yesterday that I had you in my classes. So
Summer went fast, that's for sure. But yeah, graduated in 2020, technically 2021, because the graduation got pushed till next spring. So
oh yeah, the ceremony.
Case. So.
Nice. Well, that's great. Well, I'll be sipping on my tiny little espresso here because I can't get espresso in a cute little porcelain cup anymore. I have to get it to go. So I can't be hanging out at my coffee shop doing this. So, well, good. And we'll start out with a few questions about how you got interested in mechanical engineering. Give you a little background, or give the students in the seminar a little bit of background on what got you interested. So first, how did you get interested in mechanical engineering?
Growing up, math and science was obviously like the strong suit, and I'm sure many of you guys can relate to this. I had great teachers along the way. I have to say my specific engineering interest started in 8th grade with a science fair. Like literally, I built bridges and I built an earthquake table, and it was really cool. And I know that's civil stuff, but that's kind of like the road that I got led down. I kind of eased my way towards mechanical because it seemed more of the fine detail and the hardware that you could explore. I wanted to stay broad because I had numerous people come up to me recommending to stay in mechanical because it's so broad, and so you can kind of branch out in so many different ways if you want to. Totally,
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah, having that basis. Well, many products that are designed, whether those products are small or large, have a mechanical dimension to them. And even things that we think of as being purely digital now have, of course, some sort of hardware that they run on. So yeah, mechanical is everywhere. And yeah, it's one of the sort of unifying fields of engineering. So that was a smart recommendation. That's what I also recommend. When I was in school, there was a professor. I was like, should I do aerospace for grad school or should I do mechanical? And he was like, you got to stick with mechanical. That aerospace industry is finicky. You never know. It could go down. And there was a famous dip in the aerospace industry a few decades ago. And he's like, yeah, if you got that mechanical degree, it's easy to go into aerospace, but you could also go into something completely different. So that's a good steer.
I was thinking the same thing because last summer I had an internship at an aerospace manufacturing firm in Kent. It was exotic metals, and we did products and sheet metal fabrication for Boeing, Airbus, all these other aerospace companies. And so actually I had an interview lined up early last spring, or this year's spring, for, I don't know, having a full-time job there. And so the aerospace industry even took a dip just recently. So that's how I ended up where I am now, because I mean, I got ghosted by the recruiter, but
Oh no.
it is what it is. And so you kind of just, you never know where you're going to end up. And so you just got to, I don't know, keep chugging along, keep putting yourself out there, enjoy what you do.
So that's a good lesson. Getting ghosted by a recruiter is just like par for the course, searching for a job. So yeah, no stress. It happens to everyone.
Once I went home, I was just sending out mass applications everywhere, and just to even have a response back is pretty rare. So you just got to get used to that rejection.
Yeah,
Keep moving forward.
that's great advice. That's great advice. How'd you get so wise already, Benjamin?
I took classes with this guy named Rico.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that must be it. That sounds about right. So, what was your favorite mechanical engineering course and why?
Surprisingly, not a Rico Piccone course.
Oh, it's totally fine.
Um, I'd have to say it was heat transfer, senior year.
Excellent.
Heat transfer was just so interesting because you want to see all the practicality in real life cases, and so you're learning about convection, all these other ones that I forgot now, radiation. It's just, I don't know, to see all that, things that you actually witness daily, like understanding why double pane windows don't, like all the heat that can't make it through. I don't know. It was really cool just to see the real life aspect of that, and the labs were fun. The project was fun to experiment with. We finally got some experience with ANSYS simulation software. So even before our FEA simulation course, we were actually delving into the simulation software itself. So just to kind of see those, you always see those simulations online and you're like, man, what is that? You just see like the blue to red, all the different, I don't know, the range of colors and what they mean. We actually got to experiment with that and see, I don't know, the heat dissipation from the motherboard or something. It was cool. I like that course a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a surprisingly easy part of mechanical engineering to forget in our times. Like mechanical engineering, a lot of people immediately think of cars and planes and robots, right? I mean, those are like the kind of big mechanical things, machines. But a significant part of mechanical engineering, and especially historically, if you go back to earlier mechanical engineering, heat, thermodynamics, those are just sort of bread and butter of mechanical engineering. So yeah, it is really fascinating, and it's funny because it's one of the fundamental ways that energy works in the universe, right? It's sort of the highest entropy form of energy is just thermal energy, and so everything interacts with it. Every type of system interacts with heat, and yeah, it's so important, and it's also really fun. I agree. It's something that I don't do a lot, but it's something that I think is quite fun. So that's great. And how about non-ME course?
I'd have to say Computer Science 101 or Rico Piccone's embedded computing class. So the reason why that's not ME is because I took it as an electrical engineering minor credit. So
Nice.
Kind of did a little work around there. But yeah, programming it's fun. I mean, you kind of see that tech industry, it's always booming. And so if you can just learn your coding, whether it's MATLAB, whether it's Python, just simple things, side projects. And so, I don't know, once we were in embedded computing, I'd have to say all that programming, like you'll just sit there just looking at code, just like, God, how do I get this thing to work? But once it works, you see the hardware attached to it come to life. So it's just that satisfaction factor. And so you were very helpful with giving the freedom to work and also being there to, I don't know, kind of answer any questions, support. So it was a very fun class just to I mean, it's a senior year elective, so it's made to be more fun than your earlier quantity over quality courses. So
Yeah, totally. Well, that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And yeah, the joy of coding, I think, yeah, a lot of mechanical engineers struggle with it at first, but yeah, when you come to love it, God, it's so much fun. Yeah.
it's something that you're not going to get immediately, and you're going to be sitting there researching everything. It's just you're with your mechanical engineering degree, you're going to learn how to research effectively. So that's like your biggest tool coming out of college is knowing how to research. So
Mm.
finding the things that you need.
So, what did you like most about the ME program at St. Martin's?
Um, just a little backstory. I came out of college or came out of high school wanting to do engineering and also to play baseball and to get some scholarship for it. And so
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing was finding that school that actually had a mechanical engineering program, not just some 3+2 program, UPS, or like all these other different schools. And so um, it was just to understand that this school is right on my doorstep. They have a lot of pride in their engineering program. The building, Civil Hall, is absolutely, it's beautiful to kind of just walk through and just kind of feel that engineering brain power that went into it. It's sick. Being a small school, yet also having engineering degrees is pretty rare to see. And so the professors are awesome. They're very helpful, easy to communicate with. You always can catch them at a office hour time or outside of it. They're super easy to work with. And so another benefit was also the small class sizes, because if I was at UW with 100 students at lecture, I would never get my questions answered. I would always be confused and kind of doubting myself. But when
Mm.
you're with that small class, shoot, I had some classes where it's like 4 people, 7 people. Like it'll
Yeah.
eventually kind of trickle down towards it. But it's, I don't know. When you can have that small class, you get the attention that we need, and you get the knowledge that and the questions answered. So that was
That
huge.
that's great. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's something that is kind of rare. I mean, I went to huge state schools, and yeah, they're not great environments for some learning styles. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would have um, struggled as much. I mean, there were a lot of really tough aspects. Getting lost, feeling lost in this big machine was a challenge in those environments. And I really like the way that we have a much more intimate feel, and everybody knows everybody, and we can just sort of hang out and work through it together. I like that vibe. It's a lot better vibe.
It's definitely the hangout feel. Like you definitely feel that over survival of the fittest. So it's really nice though.
Yeah, that's sort of like people hanging out in groups and getting things done. It's such a cool environment. I love so that. You've made it through this challenging program. It's everybody knows mechanical engineering programs are some of the hardest programs to make it through as an undergrad. Do you think that it was worth all that time, all those hours? I mean, you're just out of it, so you may be still feeling those hangover effects. Do you think it was worth it?
Absolutely. I During the time, it's you'll be sitting there struggling, succeeding. I don't know. You're going to go through all types of emotions during your 4 years, but in the end, it's absolutely worth it because it isn't just the knowledge and the job that you get out of it. It's kind of just it shapes you as a person. You kind of just see the world differently. I don't know. I go around and I see tinier details than what I would before. So
Mm.
um, I don't know. You just kind of dig deeper for that better understanding. And so um, there was times where I would shoot Calc 2. I messed up the gateway exam like twice, 3 times, but like
Mm.
you can't let that get you down. And so you just kind of keep pushing forward. Sometimes you need to work extra hard on these things, and so it's time management, putting all your energy into its respective places. And so once you figure that out, it kind of just the stress will alleviate, and you'll enjoy your time here.
Mm.
So,
That's so cool. And you mentioned time management. You had a particularly challenging time with that because you were also doing baseball. I mean, I played baseball for like I don't know, 2 months of my college career, and then I quit because I was like, I can't handle all this. It's too much. So yeah, that's amazing. So you made it through and doing baseball. So yeah, I mean, you're obviously a shining example of being able to manage all that. So you did baseball, you did academics, and you succeeded. Did you also have time for fun in there, or did you have a social life at all?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
sometimes you kind of push everything to Sunday, and you'd be like, oh, shoot, why did I do this? I don't know. Like, as your weeks go by, you kind of just have to plan out your week. What is it looking like? Work early in the week too. Don't wait to finish your assignments and stuff. Feel free to work early. Like, give it a shot. Let your brain marinate with it. If you have questions, get that out of the week early. And so, if you manage your time correctly, you can definitely have some fun.
That's great. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah. Yeah. You did a great job balancing all that. So.
Luckily, one of my teammates was also a mechanical engineer, and he's been there with me since freshman year. And it's like, if I didn't have him, it would be a little different. It would be a lot, I don't know, harder, just because we'd both be on the road together and be like, all right, like, we got to figure this out. Like, we're in Montana. It's like 2 a.m. and we just got to get this done. And so the toughest part, I think, was just being away from computers, like actual lab equipment. So we'd be sitting there just trying to write a paper on, I don't know, remembering what happened Tuesday and Saturday or something. So
Totally. That's awesome though. And you work together as a team. You grouped up, and that's so you and Tanner were really a tight knit crew, and that helps you in so many ways. And I think that that's one of the things I want to help everyone in ME 100 realize is that making it through, having those others with you to help you make it through is so important.
yeah, if you want to try and tackle it all yourself, you're going to have a really bad time. And so a big skill for engineers to learn is the social skills. It's working with one another, being a good teammate, both literally pun baseball teammate and not like just, I don't know, working with your project team or just a classmate in general, a study group. If you can work efficiently and communicate effectively, then it'll be miles easier than trying to just put the whole load on your back.
Mm, mm. Yeah, absolutely. And that sort of working with people idea, I think that there's a sense that people have that it's better if they don't have to. But I would say that it's better if you do learn to, because that is how engineers work out in the world. There is no like one person department where it's like, okay, you're in charge of this, go do your stuff all alone, and then after 3 months drop it off on my desk. That's not really how it works. So I'm guessing that that's paid off for you so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's certain times, don't get me wrong, where you want to tackle it on your own, and you can kind of afford to. It's just you kind of have to assess your best judgment and just kind of, I don't know, move forward with that, because there's some things where it's like, all right, let's just split this up and let's individually do these topics, but you
Mm-hmm.
never know if your group mate is going to not bring his share or not, I don't know, bring his work up to par. And so you kind of still have to have that teamwork
Mm-hmm.
ability. So
That's great. Yeah. And so sort of wrapping up the school questions, then, is there anything you would have done differently in your education? It's a tough question.
I mean, it's not that tough for my case, because I was like, well, I would have used my time a little more wisely being an athlete, but I mean, that's just the cards I was dealt. And so um, maybe using it a little better, just so I wouldn't be struggling on the weekends or whatever, traveling. You also have 6 a.m. lifts all fall, and you're just sitting there like, I got to get sleep. I got to take care of my mental health. I got to do all this stuff. And so, I don't know. I would always be like the guy that stays up late and then trying to wake up early. And I'd just be kind of burnt out in the morning, show up to class with like my hat on and just crusty eyed. And so, I don't know. You just got to, I don't know. I wish personally that I could have joined more clubs,
Mm.
um, meet more people, and kind of branch out my inner circle. Like, I would stick with my group of guys or girls, just saying. um, yeah, my group of guys, like we just kind of stuck together since freshman year. But the biggest thing is try and start a LinkedIn early. Like I started mine probably beginning of my senior year. Luckily, I've been using it effectively and to my advantage, and that's pretty much kind of how I got my job. Is once I submitted my application, I see this person viewed my profile, and I'm like, oh, like, wait a second, that guy's from the job that I just applied to, and so I don't know. That kind of, you get a better judgment of where you're standing with your network and who your connections are. So,
yeah, and that's a really good point. That's something that I'm trying to encourage.
Helpful, even if it's super early and you don't even have anything to put on it. Just grow to understand it, because there's some guys that I just graduated with and they don't even have one, or they have one and it's just bare. It's like,
yeah.
What are you going to show on there? Like, you have your projects, keep track of your projects, document them, write down your skills, write down all these different honors that you get, dean's list, all this other stuff. It looks good on paper, but it looks even better on a LinkedIn. So another thing to kind of notice is don't be jealous of a route that someone else might go. Like, shoot, Kelsey's at NASA. I want to work at NASA. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know. Everyone is rooting for everyone once you've actually graduated. That competition's down. And so you kind of just learn to, instead of dragging people down because you're jealous, just encourage one another. Like, LinkedIn's all about that positivity and just encouraging one another, congratulating them. So it goes a long way to be nice about it.
It's such a good thing when you have a classmate who gets a cool job, because then in a year or two, and you're thinking about a job, you're like, hey, check out that NASA and see, look up Kelsey, see what it's like. In some of these big companies, it's hard because sometimes they don't have hiring practices. I mean, Boeing's famous for this. Like, if you know somebody, there's only so much they can do because there's like an algorithm that pulls resumes and stuff. So, I mean, there are different things like that. But a lot of companies, somebody in the company personally vouching for a person, it goes a long way. So, yeah. So I think we've heard a little bit about what your career has looked like so far. You're at Auburn Mechanical. Do you want to describe your job for us a little bit?
Yeah, as I'm still kind of getting to understand the job myself, it's project engineer doing construction work. Our company is a mechanical, so HVAC and plumbing contractor. And so I've grown to understand the construction industry way better because I knew nothing about it before this. So as I've been working there, I've realized it's a lot of paperwork because you have a lot of drawings, you have documents, ASI standards, all this other stuff. I'm doing no design work, no load calculations, none of that. And so I think my personality is best fit for this role. I couldn't see myself sitting down at a desk, which is what I'm doing now. So that's cool. I didn't want to sit there at a desk and design all day. Like, I enjoy design. I love it. But it's something that at a job, just sitting at a desk doing that all day. I witnessed that at my internship last summer, and I was like, this is like, just, I want to gouge my eyes out. Like, I'm just sitting here, I'm kind of bored, but I mean, I wasn't actually working on the actual engines like they were, but I don't know. Kind of working with people is my specialty, and so I can I don't know, fit my skills to what I enjoy to do. And so using the interpersonal skills to communicate how to get the job done itself. So I'll be going onto the job site and witnessing all the progress of our plumbing. And so you realize how staggered the construction process is. It isn't just like, all right, ground up. Like, it's sections. They call it billboarding. And so the convention center that I'm working at, which is kind of the next question. Sorry.
You're good.
So we're sectioning it off because there's just like, it's a $1.6 billion contract value. It's the Seattle Convention Center edition. So if you look it up, you can drive by it on I-5 if you're heading there. It actually hangs over I-5 a little bit. So it was kind of sketchy to walk around and just be like, oh, wow, that's I-5. And it's just bustling. But
it's... Don't want to drop a wrench over the side.
We always get an email talking about the safety And so
Yeah.
recently there was a grinder that was dropped from the 10th floor to the ground level, and
Ow.
like that would split you in half. Like
Yeah.
that's no joke. And apparently the guy was trying to impress his boss, and so those two guys just got immediately just, you're done. Like,
Wow.
pack your stuff, get out of here. So
Mm.
it was pretty eye opening to realize how serious things have to be to get the job done. You can't be messing around. You got to be safe because you're working with so many other trades too. You got electricians, iron workers, HVAC. I'm working with McDonald Miller there, and so you have to be a well-oiled machine to get this job done because it's going to take another year and a half, 2 years on its own. And
Yeah.
it looks like it's ready, but it's not. It's far from ready.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you're out of the job site. You're interacting with the construction crews. You're trying to help guide them toward the design that you guys have. Is that kind of right? I know that it's a challenge sometimes to go from, especially on a big work site. I've worked a little construction, and um, the engineer's there, and they say, okay, do this, and then they're gone. And then when it actually gets built, sometimes things go a little differently. And so is it something where you're trying to stay in constant communication with the foreman on the job site and that type of thing?
Absolutely. So before COVID, this is what they've told me. It was I would be at the job site 5 days a week, and there's an office at the old convention center. So you go there first. You do your site walk, which the one I did last Monday took 4 hours and 11,000 steps, and so that was only a quarter of the building that's actually like constructed. And so
Wow.
yeah, you're wearing steel boots, getting your steps in, your quads are feeling it by the end of the day. But no, it's sick. I enjoy it. As of now, they sent out a survey talking about working from home, and the majority of the people love it. And so we're going to continue working from home and maybe going once a week at most. So
No, that's
I
cool.
think about it. I'm like, do we really have to walk around and check progress every single day? And so, I mean, for me being just an eye on the outside and a new guy, I'm kind of just learning to understand the whole process. So I like
cool.
it. I think it's perfectly fine to just do once a week because all that progress can be like, oh yeah, we got this one other pipe installed since yesterday. Thanks for showing up. Like my gas is just like, why?
So it sounds like we're hearing kind of what your typical work day is like. So you're kind of the way that you've been describing this. You're somebody who is interfacing between designers and then the people who are constructing it, the construction
Exactly.
crew. And
So when when the design team is sending out these designs, giving them to the tradesmen working, there's going to be problems that arise, and there's a lot. You're always going to encounter it because everything on design, you can have this model that looks beautiful, but it's when you actually have to implement it in person that you're going to realize like it's not just a direct like take the drawing, install the drawing. So whether it's this thing's off by this amount, what do we got to do? Oh, we got to dig up concrete. We got to reinforce this wall. And so what I deal with right now and there's a few more jobs that I will be learning as we go on, but as of now I've been working on RFIs, which are requests for information. And so what we do is when we encounter this problem, we send out an RFI with the detailed question. We send it to the architects. Arup is the company, and they're going to send it back completed. And then we're the middleman that takes these things and organizes them. Like I'm always working with File Explorer, and just there's a huge organization process to it. And so you got to be good with computers. So you'll definitely learn how to do that at St. Martin's, and just managing your files effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, maintaining, especially on a huge project like this. I mean, it's it's a challenge organizationally to get everybody on the same page. I mean, it's the structure is what most people see, but there's so much inside the walls and under the floors and in the ceilings, and making sure that all of that is working together in a way that's going to be safe and performant in a way that people can use the building effectively is a serious challenge, and especially with the way we try to design things in a way that's more and more efficient. I mean, before, when we overbuilt everything, or over designed everything, there was less concern about, well, this is off by 5%. Is that a big deal? This is the type of thing that, if it comes out of the concrete 2 inches off, you're like, in some cases this is not a big deal. In other cases, it might be a big deal. And it's when you start to get down to those tighter and tighter margins of error, when you get to more and more efficient designs, it can be challenging, and it can be hard. It's a process where you're responsible for something that could either be a safety issue, or could be a health issue, like a long-term health issue, or it could be structure and money damage, that type of thing.
Yeah, because if there's an issue and we don't report it, who's going to pay for it? Us. And so this project being so expensive, you kind of want to minimize and make sure who's paying for what. And so the cost is insane to me, because I'm just sitting there like, I had not a lot of money in my pocket at college, and so I'm sitting there like wheeling, dealing, like dollar bills. And so once I come here, they're just like, yeah, this thing's $100,000. This is $800,000. This is $1 million. I'm just like holy crap! This is the real stuff now. And so we're to have that organization between the design team and the people on the site is key for making sure the process is smooth.
Yeah. I think we kind of hit on this a little bit, but I know this is something that's near and dear to a lot of the students, which is, how did you go about finding your job after you graduated?
Like I said earlier, you're pretty much going to be tailoring your resume to the specific job application, and just kind of look around. First thing is first, know what you're interested in. Kind of, if you want to go that route, great. But if you're not going to get any response back, kind of just take a step back, reevaluate, and be like, all right, what's good for me? Any experience is good. Like, it's hard to argue that as an engineer. Like, any experience, just to get your foot in the door, you're good. And so what I did after all those plenty of applications where I didn't hear back of anything, I remembered Auburn Mechanical was at the UW Career Fair in October. And all I remember was putting my name down on a clipboard and never hearing back from them. And so I was like, I see an engineer spot open on their website. I see an internship open. So what I did, being a fresh graduate, I was like, I just need the experience. And so I said, apply to the internship. And so I immediately got called back from the construction manager and was like, hey, like, we just saw that you graduated. Did you mean to apply for this internship? And I was like, I just want a job, man. Like, honestly, I just want a job. And so, being that it was COVID season and jobs are down, you have all these graduates coming out, and mechanical is one of the most popular, if not the most popular, engineering degree. Like, the numbers of students that come out of there versus aerospace or these smaller ones. Civil's probably the same, but the job applications weren't seeing anything, so I just applied to them. He asked me, well, you're definitely qualified for this. You have a 4-year degree. We know about some people from St. Martin's. We currently have some guys there. And so I was saying, yeah, sure. Yeah. Like, I'll move forward with the project engineer full time. He's like, yeah, money's better too. I was like, yeah, like that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to. So, that's pretty much, it's a weird story of how I got it.
Yeah.
But it worked out with having a good LinkedIn, a good resume, listing all of my projects from school, past internship experience.
And throwing those applications out there. Sounds like you did. You did your work. You pushed them out there. You tried to tailor them.
You're just gonna have your mom nagging over you the entire time. Man, find a job. I'm just like, I know.
Oh my God! I'm reading this book. It's one of my faves. I'm rereading it. Confederacy of Dunces. Have you ever read it? Oh God! If you like comedy books, like it's like comedic. It's just like ridiculous story. It's a little bit like Don Quixote, where there's just like ridiculous characters at the center of it, just doing these silly things. But But yes, his mother is over his shoulder, like, get a job. Yeah, the whole time. And it's great. He becomes a hot dog vendor, though. So.
All of your dreams, man.
That's right.
Another thing that I would say is, like we were talking about earlier, Boeing's going to have that algorithm for your resume. Like I applied and I guarantee mine was just like shredded straight away. Like it's just going to get sent out there, and sometimes you're just not going to, there's no way that it got through.
Yeah.
In your mind, at least. So luckily for me, the company that I applied for, they pride themselves on being a small, big company. And so being at that smaller company, you kind of feel the connections better. They actually care about your growth and training. And so I was at a meeting recently, and they're talking about, we want to train you so good that you're going to take our position and you're going to be better than us. And it's like, who says that as a manager? Like, you don't hear that much. So you just know that it's being run by a good organization. It started as a family-run company in 1975. So,
wow.
I mean, my project manager is the daughter of the president. So it's like, wow. Like, I don't know. If you're at a smaller company, your room for growth is greater, and you'll see it, I think, earlier. If you're at Boeing or Blue Origin was like my only dream getting out of like high school. Like I had a job shadow there my junior year of high school, and I was like, yes, get me in this. And I was like, I am nowhere close to being like these type of engineers that get in. So I don't know. It's just, you play your cards right, you kind of realize, what do you want? Do you want to be actually welcomed as an engineer, or do you want to be challenged immediately? And so the challenge might be a little too much for some. And so you kind of just learn what you love and go for it, man.
Yeah, and we actually are. So I'm interviewing. I don't know if you know him. Another alumnus of the program, Jeremiah Enright. He was he graduated a few years ago, but he worked at the shipyards. As one of his jobs, he interned at Intel, and then he worked for another like a heavy industry company, like a drilling company, and a tunnel boring company. And he just a month ago got a job at Blue Origin. So he took a path. He was like, I want to get to aerospace one day, but his path was through, like every other industry first. And yeah, I mean, I think that it kind of just depends, and maybe you'll find something along the way that you like and you want to stick with. You don't really know what you're gonna like. It's something that, I mean, this is an attempt, and like, you're being so generous with your time, Benjamin, to come and back and share with us. But so few students going through a program get exposure to what it's like on the other side. What's it gonna be like? How do I get jobs, and then what are those jobs like? What are the different industries that I could work in? So hard to tell from the job descriptions on the website. It's like, everybody's company is the best, and we take care of everyone and all that. So yeah, it's cool to hear from you kind of what your path is. And yeah, I think a lot of people will find a spot in industry and in a company where they feel like it's a good fit for them, and they'll stick with it. And yeah, I think everybody's sort of path is different, and you have that lateral movement possibility as a mechanical engineer. You can go from one industry to another, and yeah, like you're in the I guess plumbing, HVAC sort of industry right now, construction. And that's one of the primary traditional fields for a mechanical engineer to be in, but you never know. I mean, you might be working at Blue Origin in 2 years, like Jeremiah ended up doing, and you might find that doing this work that you're doing now, which is like really cool. I mean, I think managing these huge projects is a pretty exciting opportunity, and especially as a young engineer, being able to get exposure to these, huge industrial projects that have, an immediate and significant impact on the world around us, is a pretty cool thing. So,
I
yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, totally. So, I like this question. What's your favorite thing that you've learned since graduation? So like you were in school, you were learning things, and now you're out of school and you're still learning things, but like what's the thing that's been like the most, like your most favorite thing?
I have to say, just it all paid off. Like just getting through it. If I had a normal traditional graduation, I would have felt that like 100%. But I was just sitting in my apartment for like 3 months, and I was like, all right, guess time to go home. Like I graduated. Cool. And so, yeah, just the countless nights of studying, the sore eyes of looking at a computer screen. Get some of these. Get some blue light glasses.
Yes.
It'll be worth it. And
Mine are in the other room.
all those coffees and Red Bulls at the Monk's Bean and Parsons store, that I don't know, they all paid off. And so you just kind of, I don't know. The favorite thing I've learned since graduation is just reminiscing on my time at St. Martin's and realizing that I did it. 4 years at school. I have an engineering degree, and no one can take that away from me. So
yeah,
it's a great feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it should be. I think it's quite an accomplishment. It's worth celebrating it. So I know I'm looking forward to having the last year's graduation whenever we can. I don't know.
A little champagne party with seniors.
I know. I think we should go big. Yeah, we should have like a.
Blarneys. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, there we go. Blarneys. We'll pack out Blarneys. We'll fill it to the brim. Yeah. Good. Yeah, and I know I caught you during the day, but yeah, next time we chat, we should do it over some whiskey at least.
Sounds good with me, man. Doesn't take much.
That's right. See, this is at this time of day, it's coffee. But catch me a couple hours later and I'd be down to switch.
Catch me on YouTube lectures sipping whiskey.
I know.
Caught him a few times.
Hopefully it's dark out clearly in those videos. So you got here's a question. I know that you feel the sense of success and accomplishment, and that's good. And I think that we all recognize how much success you've had. And do you have any sort of advice or description of how you've been successful, or what's to what do you attribute your success?
I gotta say, great professors. Yeah, your hard work ethic that you've implemented since freshman year, putting your mental health first, that's huge. Like you're gonna feel absolutely bogged down, and you're gonna hate your life at times, but it's okay. Like you'll be fine. Asking questions a lot. There's never a dumb question. Professors always have time to clear up your confusion. So just make sure that you ask those questions, and having a good support system, good friends, family, just you realize what is truly powering you to get this degree and continue moving toward those challenges. I believe it's all those things.
That's great advice. And I think you've probably hit then what your advice is to the students. Any final thoughts before we go to the Q&A for them?
Quick advice. Some people, they can't handle this program and they switch majors fast. Like as I've witnessed it, I had close friends start at engineering and then just drop it. Like it is doable if you have the heart and mind, someone who can multitask. You can use your brain and hands in harmony. You want to be able to work and think at the same time. So that's big advice. Learn how to do that. Give it your all. Don't kill yourself over grades, not literally. Gain a deeper understanding. Work with your professors. And so time will fly when you're learning the subject, and it might not sink until after the test. So it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way it is. So the ME program, you encompass so much, and so you have to just power through it. And after, you'll be like, oh, like, I wish I knew that for the test. That's cool. Like, but yeah, just do research on your fuzzy topics that are like just not all the way there yet. And again, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's yeah, that's all I got.
That's great. That's great. Well, good. Well, thanks so much. And,
Yeah.
I think at this point, if we were in person, we would be doing a round of applause, but I don't know how this works on Zoom, but thank you very much. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys. I'm happy to just talk to the people that I was once in their footsteps and so, or in their shoes. So just give it your all, guys. Kick ass. It'll be worth it in the end. And so just know that. Thanks, Carrie.
That's awesome.